Hello, this is PG, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Dragon's Dogma 2 on the Xbox Series X. The game is also available on PC and PlayStation. Dragon's Dogma 2 is a single-player role-playing game developed by Capcom. You play as the Arisen, a gifted character who embarks on an epic quest set in a medieval fantasy world. Okay, gameplay. Well, first things first, you've got to create both your Arisen character and your pawn character. I have to say, having tried many character creation systems, the one available here might well be the best yet. With enough time and patience, you can pretty much create anyone you desire, and the available options give you plenty of scope for creating a unique character. It's also worth noting you have a variety of different classes from archers, mages and the like, with each offering a distinctly different gameplay experience. So you've made your character, you've started your quest, and then you're free to explore the open world. Now, it is an open world, but with a difference. Instead of wide open fields or in large flat areas, the landscape is broken up with mountains, rivers and other features. These make a journey from one place to another a long and windy road to follow. It's on this journey where the game really comes into its own. Every single journey is fraught with danger, whether that be from hostiles on the road, random boss creatures appearing out of nowhere, or just getting sidetracked by new areas to explore. But fret not, you are not alone. You are always accompanied by your pawn. Pawns are essentially like your assistant. They travel with you at all times and aid you in combat, resource gathering, healing, or even useful information about the game world. But how do they know all this stuff? Well, your pawn doesn't just disappear when you're offline. No, they wander around other players' worlds and will join them in their adventures. The information they learn in these adventures with other players can often be relayed to you, like informing you about a cave you haven't visited, a treasure chest you haven't found, or just some other useful nugget of information. It really brings the pawn to life and it makes them feel like a true personality. But you can also recruit 2 extra pawns that have been created by other players. It's a really simple thing, but after a time you'll develop deep friendships with other players' pawns who'll wave hello to you if you bump into them in a town.
Where to next, Arisen? I'm not sure I've any idea.
By your leave, Arisen.
Now each pawn has a class, and because you're the Arisen you can choose which pawns to travel with. Now, do you want 3 archers, do you want 3 mages, do you want a mixture of different classes to make a good team? How you set up your group makes each road trip different because they will result in different experiences. Like if you don't have a healer, you'll need potions. If you don't have potions, you're going to be in trouble. But it all results in some really fun combat skirmishes. Speaking of combat, you've got buttons allocated to moves. You can level up these moves and purchase new ones as well at the guilds. These are in the towns. The towns, I'd say they're quite far apart, which again increases the emphasis on the road trip. But you can also, in time, use an ox cart to get around if you've got the coin. Now, there is fast travel. It does feature, but it is limited in nature. You need special tokens to do it. You also need a kind of travel point to go to, like a portal. And what it does mean is that you're not going to fast travel all the time. So it means travelling on foot is what you're going to be doing most of the time in Dragon's Dogma 2. And honestly, for me, that was the most enjoyable part of the game. It's the only game that I can remember ever playing where going on long journeys from A to B is not only different every time, it's very addictive, it's enjoyable, it's remarkably satisfying, and it's just really delightful watching your merry band of brothers and sisters just seem to find and discover something new every time. Now the game world features different regions from rocky mountains, arid deserts, volcanic islands and elven woodlands. With the emphasis on travel, your fellowship will need the supplies for those journeys, Yeah, it's always worth stocking up in the towns because on those journeys your health doesn't stay maximum. It will deplete over time and you'll need to have rests at campfires. There's taverns in the towns you can sleep for a really good rest, but there's nothing quite like, sitting with your group out in the wild, having a little cook-off at the camp and listening to them jibber-jabber about some rubbish.
How many times have we camped here now? I'm not sure what this place has done to earn such favor from you, Arisen.
So lots of travelling, interesting relationships between your band of pawns, and some satisfying character classes and combat. But what about the story and the quest lines? Well, the main quest is relatively straightforward, barring a couple of obscure missions. But for me, it was the side quest variety that made Dragon's Dogma 2 such a special game. This game, let me tell you, has got a lot of secrets, a lot. For example, there are quests I only found on my third playthrough, with rare creatures to find, special armour suits, unique weapons, and just so many wonderfully well hidden areas that you'll be amazed that you never found them. Now some of the quests are maybe a bit obscure, but one thing that does add to the game, is replay value. As I said, I've played it 3 times through, I've seen all the endings, and I can honestly say I would play it again at the drop of a hat. Why? Because the quests are so varied and interesting, because the game world is so vast, it's interesting to navigate, and when you add the variety of the pawn's behaviour and the pawn designs, it means every time round it feels like you're playing a fresh game.
Such knowledge has been known to cost a man his head.
Understood, milady. If anyone asks, I shall say I saw naught.
Visually, there are some texture issues even on the Xbox Series X version, mostly during real-time cutscenes. Aside from that though, the character designs are great, the costumes, the towns, the game world. It's a lovely world to look at and explore. The game features a photo mode. It's a shocking photo mode. You can't move the camera. Well done, eh? Who did that? Idiot. Anyway, I did a guide for the photo mode if you really want to take pictures in it. It's a painful process, but I'll put a link in the description to the guide. Anyway, the sound, music, ambience, sound effects, all of them excellent. Also, I'd say the voice acting, it's stellar. It's really noticeable with your pawns as they kind of chunter away to each other, often having their own little chats. Okay, what is the verdict? Dragon's Dogma 2 is a truly wonderful role-playing game that feels like a real adventure from the first moment to the last. It's almost like a playable version of the Fellowship of the Ring as you and your eclectic group of travel companions, visit the lands far and wide. Yes, there are some technical issues, and it can be frustrating when you die on the road and you've got to respawn at a strange checkpoint, but any issues that I have with this game are definitely washed away by the sheer pleasure I had by creating characters, exploring the world, going on adventures, and just, an adventure in the truest sense of the word. Very few role-playing games capture that sense of adventure. Dragon's Dogma 2 does it, and it does it very well indeed. I loved it. I'd say I loved it even more than Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. And if you've never played this game, I strongly recommend you do because it's just wonderful. So scoring, I would give Dragon's Dogma 2 a 10 out of 10. Amazing game. Love this one so much. Anyway, that's the review. Thanks for watching. This is PG signing off. Cheers.